First book of Esdras, chapter 1. And Josiah held the feast of the Passover in Jerusalem until his father, and offered the Passover the 14th day of the first month, having set the priests according to their daily courses, being arrayed in long garments in the temple of the Most High. And he spake unto the Levites, set apart ministers of Yasharahlah, that they should hallow themselves unto the Most High, to set the holy ark of the Most High in the house that King Solomon, the son of David, had built. And said, Ye shall no more bear the ark upon your shoulders. Now therefore serve the Most High your power, and minister unto his people Yasharahlah, and prepare you after your families and kindreds, according as David the king of Yasharahlah prescribed, and according to the magnificence of Solomon his son, and standing in the temple according to the several dignity of the families of you, the Levites, who ministered in the presence of your brethren, the children of the Most High. Offer the Passover in order, and make ready the sacrifices for your brethren, and keep the Passover according to the commandment of the Most High, which was given unto Moshe. And unto the people that was found there, Josiah gave 30,000 lambs and kids, and 3,000 calves. These things were given of the king's allowance, according as he promised, to the people, to the priests, to the Levites. And Hilkiah, Zacharias, and Selias, the governors of the temple, gave to the priests for the Passover 2,600 sheep and 300 calves. And Jechonias and Semias and Nathanael his brother, and Asabias and Okiel and Joram, captains over thousands, gave to the Levites for the Passover 5,000 sheep and 700 calves. And when these things were done, the priests and Levites, having the unleavened bread, stood in very calmly, order and accordingly to the kindreds, and accordingly to the several dignities of the fathers before the people, to offer to the Most High, as it is written in the book of Moshe. And thus did they in the morning, and they roasted the Passover with fire. Appertaineth as for the sacrifices, they sawed them in brass pots and pans with a good savor, and set them before all people. And afterward they prepared for themselves, and for the priests their brethren, the sons of Aaron. For the priests offered the fat until night, and the Levites prepared for themselves, and the priests their brethren, the sons of Aaron, the set apart singers also, the sons of Asaph, were in their order, according to the appointment of David, to wit, Asaph, Zacharias, and Jeduthun, who was of the king's retinue. Moreover, the porters were at every gate. It was not lawful for any to go from his ordinary service, for their brethren the Levites prepared for them. Thus were the things that belonged to the sacrifices of the Most High accomplished in that day, they that might hold the Passover, and offer sacrifices upon the altar of the Most High, according to the commandment of King Josiah. So the children of Yasharahlah, which were present, held the Passover at that time, and the feast of sweet bread in 7 days. And such a Passover was not kept in Yasharahlah since the time of the prophet Samuel. Yea, all the kings of Yasharahlah held not such a Passover as Josiah's. And the priests and the Levites and the Jews held with all Yasharahlah that were found dwelling at Jerusalem. In the 18th year of the reign of Josiah was the Passover kept. And the works of Josiah were upright before the Most High, with an heart full of the Most High. As for the things that came to pass in his time, they were written in former times concerning those that sinned and did wickedly against the Most High above all people and kingdoms, and how they grieved him exceedingly, so that the words of the Most High rose up against Yasharahlah. Now after all these acts of Josiah, it came to pass that the pharaoh, the king of Eygyt, came to raise war against Carchemish upon Euphrates, and Josiah went out against him. But the king of Egypt sent to him, saying, What have I to do with thee, O king of Judea? I am not sent out from the Most High against thee, for my war is upon Euphrates, and now the Most High is with me. Yea, the Most High is with me, hasting me forward. Depart from me, and be not against the Most High. Howbeit Josiah did not turn back his chariot from him, but undertook to fight with him, not regarding the words of the prophet Jeremy, spoken by the mouth of the Most High, but joined battle with him in the plain of Megiddo. And the princes came against King Josiah. Then said the king unto his servants, Carry me away out of the battle, for I am very weak. And immediately his servants took him away out of the battle. Then gat he up upon his second chariot, and being brought back to Jerusalem, he died, and was buried in his father's sepulchre. And in all Jewry they mourned for Josiah. Yea, Jeremy the prophet lamented for Josiah, and the chief men with the women made lamentation for him unto this day. And this was given out for all an ordinance to be done continually in all the nation of Yasharahlah. These things were written in the book of the stories of the kings of Judea, and every one of the acts that Josiah did, and his glory, and his understanding, and the law of the Most High, and the things that he had done before, and the things that now recited, are reported in the book of Kings of Yasharahlah in Judea. And the people took Joachaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king instead of Josiah his father, when he was 23 years old. And he reigned in Judea and in Jerusalem 3 months. And then the king of Egypt disposed him from reigning in Jerusalem. And he set a tax upon the land of 100 talents of silver and 1 talent of gold. The king of Egypt also made King Joachim, his brother, king of Judea and Jerusalem. And he bound Joachim and the nobles. But Xerxes, his brother, he apprehended and brought him out of Egypt. 25 years old was Joachim when he was made king in the land of Judea and Jerusalem, and he did evil before the Most High. Wherefore against him Nebechenezzer the king of Babylon came up and bound him with a chain of brass and carried him into Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar also took of the holy vessels of the Most High and carried them away and set them in his own temple at Babylon. But those things that are recorded of him and of his uncleanliness and impiety are written in the chronicles of the kings. And Joachim his son reigned in his stead. he was made king, being 18 years old, and reigned but 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem, and did evil before the Most High. So after a year, Nebuchadnezzar sent and caused him to be brought into Babylon with the holy vessels of the Most High, and made Zedekiah king of Judea and Jerusalem, when he was 21 years old, and he reigned 11 years. And he did evil also in the sight of the Most High, and cared not for the words that were spoken unto him by the prophet Jeremy from the mouth of the Most High. And after that, King Nebuchadnezzar had made him to swear by the name of the Most High, he forswore himself, and rebelled, and hardened his neck, and his heart he transgressed the laws of the Most High of Yasharahlah. The governors also of the people and of the priests did many things against the laws, and passed all the pollutions of all nations, and defiled the temple of the Most High, which was sanctified in Jerusalem. Nevertheless, the Most High of their fathers sent by his messenger to call them back, because he spared them and his tabernacle also. But they had his messengers in derision, and look, when the Most High spake unto them, they made a sport of his prophets, so far forth that he, being wroth with his people for their great ungodliness, commanded the kings of the Chaldees to come up against them, who slew their young men with the sword, yea, even within the compass of their holy temple, and spared neither young man nor maid, old man nor child among them, for he delivered all into their hands. And they took all the holy vessels of the Most High, both great and small, with the vessels of the ark of the Most High, and the king's treasures, and carried them away into Babylon. As for the house of the Most High, they burnt it, and brake down the walls of Jerusalem, and set fire upon her towers. And as for her glorious things, they never ceased till they had consumed and brought them all to naught. And the people that were not slain with the sword he carried into Babylon, who became servants to him and his children till the Persians reigned, to fulfill the word of the Most High spoken by the mouth of Jeremy, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. The whole time of her desolation shall she rest, until the full term of 70 years. Shabbat Shalom, family. So I just wanted to do a recap. This is going to be a part of a series that I'm going to be doing on the Apocrypha, basically reading it from the beginning until the end. So it's going to be a lot of videos, but I just feel like it's a good project to do. Some people still don't have one. A lot of people still aren't very sure on the knowledge of the books that were removed. So that's what I'll be doing, and this is the first segment of it. And this particular segment, this is how the Apocrypha starts off. It talks about the reign of Josiah and his fall, and it also leads you in a chronological kind of timeline order until what happened up until the time of the Babylonian captivity with Nebuchadnezzar. So basically, King Josiah, he dies in battle, and the king, I should say pharaoh of Egypt, he pleaded with him. He basically told him, that the Most High spoke to me, my fight is not with you, it's with Euphrates. But Josiah persisted into battle, so he was killed that day. you know, and it just also goes to show, you know, Josiah was a very righteous king. You know, he did good all his days as king in the sight of the Most High. You know, he was, it also gives us an ordinance to lament King Josiah, or should I say Yosiah in English, because we all know, you know, the letter J, it's only been around 600 years. But anyway, we are given an ordinance, and this talks about the ordinance that we were given to lament King Josiah. So I encourage all of you family to take a moment of silence and think about this righteous king, because as it tells us, it's an ordinance, you know, a lamentation for him out of respect. You know, the Most High gives great honor to those that he respects. You know, but this kind of leads into a cycle where other nations were starting to rule over, to take rule in Yasharahlah. Like they marching in there and they are just slapping the people and, you know, the kings around. You know, Egypt took rulership there. And also Nebechenezzer, you know, took rulership there as well by appointing the king there too. But this shows how whenever we lose a righteous leader, and when I say we, I'm talking about the so-called Negro people in the world. It shows throughout the scriptures. The most famous example is Moshe leading the people out of Egypt. As soon as he was gone and they didn't know where he was and they thought that he was dead, they started to build. They took all their gold, melted it down, and they, you know, pleaded with the Ron, and they built them a deity, something to worship. It's the same thing in this society right now. Our people they're always looking for someone to worship. They're always looking for someone to be their Moshe. They're always looking for man to help them with their problems. But the Most High never wanted that. He's the only leader and ruler that we ever needed. And what better ruler than the creator of all life and all existence? But our people, we have to take responsibility as a whole. That's one thing to take notice of when you read the scripture and when you realize that you're a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is, you know, we have to work our salvation out with fear and trembling. So you're the only one that can fight for your soul. So let's let that be understood, that you fall for your own actions, or you win for your own actions and decisions as well. But the Most High looks at us as a body and as one. And a lot of us are going through what we're going through today because of the decisions and the actions of our ancestors and our forefathers. But we're no better, because we were born into sin and we have all sinned. None of us can cast a stone. But I wanted to point out a fact that our people always looking for something or someone to worship. I think the biggest reason for that is because our creator, our ruler is not seen, but all the other nations had a ruler that was seen. So every time a ruler or someone, we don't have a ruler, or our ruler passes, then we fall away from the Most High's commandments, and we fall away from his laws, and we end up going into being slaughtered, and then going into captivity, and then we end up becoming products of other nations. But see, back in those days, all of the people were together. Okay, now the prophecy is Isaiah 11:11 says we would be gathered from the four corners. So if you know the scriptures, the KJV, the basic canon, it lets you know that we're not together now. We're spread abroad. The 10 tribes, or should I say 11 tribes, They are spread out throughout Africa and Asia. And the tribe of Judah is spread out through the entire heaven, the entire earth. So back then they had an opportunity to cry out to the Most High. Back then they had an opportunity, and that is what always saved them out of their captivities, and they was able to come back into the land. So I'm saying that to say, in this day and time, the Most High is going to do the work, and he does that work through you. That's why it says the kingdom is in you, because each one of us individually are going to come back to the Father and do his will that he already made to do his will. He put that in certain individuals. So as a body, we win. As a whole, as one, we win. As a body, as a whole, we lose. So that's basically what's going on, you know, in First Esdras, in the first chapter. You know, once Josiah passed, you know, then the people, they his son reigned. But then after that, the pharaoh come in, and he, you know, brings his brother in, and Joachim, and then from there on, and then once the other rulers start coming in and ruling over Yasharahlah, the people started going astray again. So the Father, we were slaughtered and brought back into captivity, and that's what this chapter 1, these scriptures in the apocryphal books, is talking about. In this segment that I'm reading, it's talking about the fall after Josiah and going into Babylon for 70 years. But it's giving us a little gist of what was happening before we went into Babylon. So the Most High, the Father, the Creator, he brought the word unto his servants, who were of the blood of Jacob and Abraham, and brought them to the Babylonians to bring his word to them. But the Babylonians mocked them and ridiculed them. They basically laughed in their face. You know, they don't know the Most High. Even though the Most High deals with the rulers of every other nation, you know, you got to think about it. Officers and the other people, you know, the Most High deals with the rulers. He deals with royalty. He's the one that appoints all royalty. All leaders, so-called leaders, the Most High knows that all of these guys aren't necessarily leaders because they're not righteous. So when you say leader, you're speaking about someone that's righteous. You know, that's Abraham, that's Yasha, Abraham, you know what I'm saying, Moshe, you know, those are Jacob, those are leaders. But the Most High appoints all royalty. So all kings, you know, he appoints those. Okay, so the people, they were ridiculing, you know, all the other folks. They were really ridiculing the people. And then after that, you know, it's an eye opener, because then the Most High has the Chaldees rise up over Yasharahlah, and they're slaughtered. Even after some of them tried to go and bring the word to him, but they weren't listening. So that's an eye opener. The Most High deals with us as with son. Jacob is his firstborn. So what does your mother and what does your father do? Your father disciplined you, right? So that's why we're in the position that we're in today. That's why it's been the other 6 captivities. That's why the Negroid Shemitic people have always been in turmoil throughout time over and over again, is because we are getting our butt whooped. We are being punished. So even after the servants went to bring that word and those Babylonians weren't listening, then we still got whooped, our butt whooped. We still got punished. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, very sadly, our people were slaughtered and then brought into captivity into the Babylonian Empire. And the temple of the Most High that David and Solomon, that they had worked on and built, was destroyed. It was pillaged. And the ark and all of the set apart and sanctified things were taken out of it, as we all know that story, mostly from James. I mean, not James, but mostly from Daniel and his story, and the 3 Hebrew boys in the furnace. We have our accounts of Babylon. There's other accounts. Okay. So they basically pillaged the Most High's temple, and this Babylonian time, and then it basically persisted up into the time of the Persian Empire came into rise. Okay. So it also speaks of how the land enjoyed her Sabbaths. So what that means is there's a period of time where our people were in our land, but the land was not, but they were not keeping the Sabbath, or there was other evils going on, so it was polluting the Sabbath. See, everything that we do as the Most High's people, we have to do it all together. Everybody in the entire, if all of us were in over there in that land right now, everybody's doing the same thing, following the same laws. Nobody, not one person can go outside of it. Everybody is to follow it. Everybody is to do it, because when one person goes outside of it, then other people start falling away. And then you know, that attraction of ignorance or wickedness, and that spirit continues to pass, then everybody's sinning. And then you got your remnant of people that's doing the right thing, and for the most part the whole nation is doing the wrong thing. So that's why it says enjoy her Sabbaths. There's many periods in the scriptures where it says that then she enjoyed her Sabbaths once it was desolate. The only time she enjoyed her Sabbaths when the people were in the land is when everybody was having a ruler or a king that was righteous unto the Most High, and keeping the laws persistent throughout the nation. So it's a shame that all these individual people did not have what it take on their own to just love the Most High and do his will. It's a shame that it always took a leader or a righteous king to have to keep all the people in line. But that was the case. So the land shall enjoy her Sabbaths. Right now, the land is enjoying her Sabbaths. The Most High is not allowing anybody to occupy that land. The Most High is the one that controls the virtue in the nature of human beings. Human beings make their own actions and their own choices, but the Most High controls. The Most High controls us. They're like little groups of ants. You know, he controls where he wants people to be at. So, you know, that whole thing about, you know, that being the Holy Land over there, those people wouldn't be occupying that if that, they're not occupying the true, they're not occupying Judea. They're not occupying Yahudah. They're not occupying Zion. It's desolate. No one lives there. You know, I know there's people who are there on that land. They're around, but as a nation of people, as the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they're not there. The land is enjoying her Sabbaths. That's one key thing that people need to realize. A lot of people argue on the Sabbath, and they're talking about this day and that day. I understand that we all still have to learn, and we all still have to really get to the truth. None of us can act like we know more than the other. There's truths out here, and we have to work together to help each other see that truth. But what I'm trying to point out is we're all supposed to be together on the Sabbath on the land. So I just want to make that clear, you know. But this is just basically a recap of chapter 1, the book of Esdras, which is the same as in the KJV, the book of Ezra. But I just wanted to bring you this segment, family. I'm going to be coming back with many more segments. Pray that you got understanding and that you enjoyed this. Much love to you. Once again, Shabbat Shalom. You know, all praises to the Most High, his son Yasha, and Ruach HaKodesh. Shalom.